I think it's Wednesday. It's all starting to blend together. But Catherine and I decided to kind of take a little bit of a shift here today than kind of our normal, show with the guests. We really wanted to talk about overcoming obstacles, challenges, these curveballs that we keep getting thrown at, one in the world, and two, especially when it comes to healthcare. And what we're really passionate about is our older adults. It feels like every day I wake up, it is something different, something new, something, being shared about data or challenges or infection rates or just some unknown that it's a lot of it's out of our control to manage. And we really wanted to step back and share some of our own abilities and own kind of challenges we've had and how we overcame them. So, Catherine, I think today is going to be kind of more of a personal deep dive discussion. I really think about just the mindset
Yeah,
component.
yeah, definitely. And I'm going to screen share here. This is an image that we used in our marketing
Yeah,
for the collaboration and aging events that
yeah,
we moved to February
that's right.
because of these curveballs. And
Right.
that's a little bit what prompted us to have this conversation too, is learning how to deal with curveballs. And, we all have our beautiful plan. We have our big, hairy, audacious goal that we know we want to get to. And it seems when you're looking at other people's world, it seems like maybe their reality is that straight line on the top, but really everybody's reality is the one on the bottom. and
Mhm.
and it's really that time when you're riding your bike along and suddenly you're down and you're in the boulders, and then you get up to the top of the hill, and then I can't tell what that is chasing him. It looks like a little bomb chasing him. I can't
It's
really
an old
tell.
school bomb that's got a little
Is
fuse in
it?
it. Yes, that's
Yeah.
an old
So
school bomb.
so it's like all these little things, but what I really like about it is in this image, and not all the images have this. And if you Google your plan versus reality, you'll find all kinds of versions of this image. This one happens to come from Hustle and Grind, but what I love about it is it shows the little guy adapting. So he gets to the top of that hill, he sees the bomb, he runs away from it. He then falls in a lake. He has a boat. He takes the boat. He gets to the top and he figures out how to jump over the thing. He falls in the bottom again and it's raining. He builds a ladder and he puts an umbrella up. So he figures it out. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. And I think that's one of the things that Francis talks about a lot is we have to get outside our comfort zone. We have to be okay being uncomfortable when a curveball is thrown at you. You
Mhm.
take that and you go, okay, this is what's happening. Now, what do I do with it? And it's really in how we respond to it, which I am guilty for sure of not responding well sometimes. And I think that's normal human nature.
I think one thing that I've realized from the 11 years of being in the industry and startup mentality a little bit is um, it's trying not to get ahead of yourself with some of those negative thoughts, right? It's really easy when things are not going well that you're just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I made did I make a bad decision or did I do this wrong? You kind of really start to have that lack of almost belief in yourself, right? When you've gone down that path, and it's it's a weird spot to be, especially if you've been successful and you're competitive. Like, I mean, I'm uber competitive. I was former Division I athlete, and just I like to win. I hate to lose,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Some of
Yep.
those little things. But when you kind of get your metal tested a little bit, you've got to really draw from within in that positive self-talk. I know it might sound cheesy, but trying to push away those negative to make room for those positive self-talks is what I've realized is the success is literally right around the corner. If you can make it through this challenge, make it through this obstacle, the success is right behind it. And I think I was reading I can't remember what I was reading, but I read a couple books on just the mindset of just pushing through. And a lot of people quit with like 5% to go because they don't realize the goal is on right there. And that's what I would say is if you're having any doubt, give it an extra 30 days, an extra 60, because that goal, that victory is closer than you think it is.
Yeah, someone told me once, you've done the hard work. Don't give up now.
Oh
Most of
yeah.
the hard work is behind you. You just don't know
Mhm.
it yet.
Right.
And I've carried that with me, and that's really kind of what you're describing. And
Mhm.
shout out to our friend Chris Chana in
China.
Florida.
Mhm.
Yep. I always pronounce his name wrong because I have a doctor who goes by Kana. So,
Ah,
um, shout out to our friend Chris Chana, who did an episode of his show recently called "I Quit," and it's very much on this topic. I quit. How many times in your life have you said, I can't do this anymore. It's not
right.
working. I'm done. I give up. It's too hard." And the entrepreneurial spirit, the North Star, the guiding light that you have for what you see as Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Um, what you see as where you are ultimately going to get, or where you're going and what you're creating, that's the part. It's so hard. This is not easy stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. But if you can work really hard to stay focused on that goal and know that everything else is steps to get there, and that you're getting there, and every day you make progress, you're closer to it. You're farther than you were yesterday, farther
Mhm.
ahead than you were yesterday.
Mm. Well said.
And yeah, I mean, this is not easy, and we're not talking just about, startups and new things in a technology world or a business world. Talking about people's lives, and the 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 well-being of the people in our care, in your care. Francis is an owner of 10 memory care homes and a home care organization here in Denver. The number of people that you take care of, that your staff takes care of, they all
Mhm.
depend on you as the leader.
Mhm.
So keeping which you do beautifully, but it's that concept of how, as a leader, do you keep your focus on the goal, on the North
Right.
Star,
Right.
and remind people that it's okay and it's going to be okay.
And I think too, y- I think we can fall into this, this victim mentality trap where everything is somebody else's is fault or problem, right? And one thing that my dad's taught me from a young age is uh, take control of what you can, and if you do that, the rest is going to fall however it may fall. And the idea that all these external factors are influencing what's going to happen to you right now is somewhat not 100% accurate, because you're still making choices as to how you respond or how you take action. I'm a believer, I've learned over the years, taking a positive action is better than a positive thought sometimes, because you're taking
Mhm.
that, like you said, that next step, Catherine, that next step. My dad's famous thing to me that he always says is he uses a stop sign that has, you can go left or right at the stop sign. And I said, well, and so his philosophy is you get to a stop sign, he tried to trick me, and I didn't figure it out for a long time. He said, there's three choices. I never really understood that till probably about, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe. The third choice, instead of left and right, was to stay there, was to stay at
Yeah.
the stop sign. And that's always stuck with me as not doing something is a choice. And I, for the
Yeah.
longest time, didn't grasp that. And I think, uh, what we're seeing here, especially in our industry, is this break of connection between families and loved ones in residences, or in out of state, that we can't travel because of COVID and all the restrictions, or in the back and forth. um you know it really is concerning that it's this type of mentality that occurs, and it's really
Well,
scary.
yeah, and it's how do we get creative? And the creative
Right.
side of that is you're going along with your plan. It's a straight line. And suddenly you fall into the dip. What do you do? How do you get creative to get yourself out of that dip? What
Right.
resources do you have around you? Who are the people you can call? What skills do you have? What pieces and parts can you be pulling together just to get you to that next step? And I think
Right.
if we can think about when you're in that really crisis kind of moment mentality, or I'm a victim, this is all happening to me and I have no control, to just take as you said, a positive step. Do the best we can with our thinking, But we have gremlins, we work our whole life trying to get rid of those gremlins and having them stop talking to us.
Yes.
But if you take a positive step, it's getting an action that makes a difference for me. If I sit with it and stay at the stop sign, I will start to wallow in my own
Yes.
self-pity. But if I take a right or a left, regardless of whether it's right or wrong, I've taken action and I feel empowered. I feel I have some control over something. And by the way, this is what our older adults go through every single day, because when they move into a community for memory care or assisted living or skilled nursing, so many of their choices feel taken away, and they feel
Yes.
like they don't have the ability to make choices or have control over their own life. So I find so many of these parallels in our world.
That's perfect because I don't, if you think about the lives of a lot of our older adults, they've been through some very challenging times, whether personally, societal, worldly. When it came to the Greatest Generation and World War II, you're not talking about the Vietnam, Korea. You're going to have the Afghanistan vets, all of that stuff. Just living through that time, it does shape who you are, and I think. Overcoming adversity is just the way life is. I've had too many people, and I always ask people, well, life's so hard. I said, hard relative to what?
Yeah.
No one ever
Yeah.
said life is supposed to be easier. There's no
Yeah.
guide on how life is, right?
Right.
Life
Right.
is life. And I think looking at, the first PDF you put up there, we have to look at the journey more. And maybe that's something that older adults that we can learn from them, I'm assuming, is appreciating that ride,
Yeah.
right? To get to wherever we are today.
Yeah. Let's take another quick look at that, and then I'll switch to another one. It's really that how we manage this. Do we have a sense of humor? We're doing a Teepa Snow event coming up
Mhm,
September 16th
mhm,
at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and the topic is humor in caregiving. And
right.
it's not to make fun of caregiving. It's how do you, as a caregiver, meet someone where they are. And if you've ever cared for someone with dementia, you know that there's a possibility of them being combative. It's not
Mhm,
them personally, it's the neurons are misfiring. But when you're the spouse or the child, it can feel personal. And she teaches how to find the humor in the fact that your journey is going down here and then up here and up here and down here. And I think that that's really important. How do we keep our sense of humor,
mhm.
or bring some lightness to it? Because really, all we have is this moment. We don't have anything else. We have
No.
this moment to control. Um, I will share one more PDF that I love, and I'll put these links in our
Oh,
post here.
this is cool.
This has been around on the internet for a few years, and I love it. I take it with me everywhere I go. I have one of these printed and laminated in my little closet
Huh,
at home. And when I'm feeling like, oh gosh, this is a trudge, I'm really struggling, I look at this, and it's not like you can do all of these all at once, right? But
right.
sometimes one of them pops out at me, and I say, you know what? I need to embrace change. I need to not say, that's where I'm at.
Interesting.
I'm resisting change, and that's what's causing me anxiety. But if I look at it and say, okay, that change has happened, regardless of whether I wanted it to or not, what would it look like if I hugged it, if I embraced it, if I said, okay, change, you're part of my world now. Now, what does my world look like? And you
Hmm,
just kind of run through that exercise. And
I love
that,
it.
and you can do that with each one of these in at different times in different ways. But it's really interesting to think about.
So it's almost like leaning into the skid basically, right? You lean into to what you
Oh,
need to
well
embrace that
said.
day.
Well said. And use your resources.
Yeah.
Use your resources.
Hmm.
That's something that people always ask me as a tech entrepreneur, what advice do you want to give people? And I always say, everyone wants to give you advice. You have to listen to you and your North Star and what you're trying to create, because everyone has a certain
Ah,
way to do your investment deck, to do your pitch, to sell your product, to build your product. Everybody has their advice. which is great. And you want to listen to it, because if 5 people are telling you something, you need to pay attention.
Right.
But you also have to pay attention to your core, your North Star. And what is your North Star,
That's
right?
funny. I never, yeah. Huh.
Yeah. What advice do you give people, Francis?
That's a really good question. To stay in the moment, to kind of stay in that moment and stay in the fight, like that you're only one positive action from that next victory. I really think, you know, I hate to generalize, but in this world of instant gratification, I think it's too easy to get caught up that you need this win today, right? Where the win isn't probably going to come today. It's going to come a week from now, a month from now, but it's there. It's really close. So staying in that fight with that mentality that I'm just around the corner. That's my biggest thing, especially in our space, because when people take care of people, something's always going to go sideways. It's how you respond to solving that problem. So what I
Yeah.
tell our team and our families, I said, look, if anybody ever tells you in senior care that they're 100% perfect all the time, they've never done senior care. What I can promise people is this: our team, when we do make a mistake, we will make 100% to fix it. That's where our perfection comes, is fixing anything that goes wrong.
And communicate about it, which is
Mhm.
a signature for you,
Correct.
and your organizations.
Mhm.
Not only are you fixing it, but you're communicating with the family
Correct. Yep.
about what you're doing, why you're
Right.
doing it.
Yep. Because it goes back to what you said. It's responding to the challenge with action. And so our action is to fix whatever went sideways, big or small. I mean, again,
Yeah.
thankfully we don't have a ton of big things. It is little things, but as people take care of people, we have those nuances, right? And in any industry, when people are involved, which is the beauty of people, we're not perfect, but our response needs to be perfect to correct whatever thing went sideways.
Well said. And I love what you said. So you said be in the moment. You're
Mhm.
one positive step away from victory. And then the third thing in there was, oh shoot. Oh, it was so good too. It'll come back to me.
The correcting mistake.
No, it was something
No?
else in there.
Oh,
It was something that I picked up. Anyway, it'll come back to me, and it'll probably be midnight tonight, and I'll wake up
yeah.
and add it to our post. So there
There
we
you go.
go. So I think for anyone out there who's struggling with change, because that's really what we're talking about, is change happens to us. How we respond to it is all we can control. It's not easy. No one's saying it's easy. There's no magic wand here. There's no just think yourself out of it. I do think the way we think impacts it, but it's not easy when you're in the moment to
No,
change your
no.
thinking on a dime. Um, and reach out to people. That's something that I really want to leave people with, is if you're really, really struggling with anything, reach out to your resources, to people, to friends, to family, to hotlines, to whatever. Don't try to do it alone. Talk it through with people, regardless of big or small problem.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
it's
we have communities and friends and resources, because we're
and support groups and networks and things like that, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
we have one ride on this earth, or maybe multiple. I don't know, but this is the one we know about right now. So this is
mhm.
the only one we get to control, and make the most of it. Go for your dreams. If you're listening to this, go for your dreams.
Yeah, we definitely will push. You got to push and enjoy and take control of what you want to take control of, right? It's really
Yeah,
down to taking charge of what you want to take charge of, and having your life meet your expectations, not living someone else's life, not setting expectations based on something else, based on what you want as a person, as a group, as a family, as whatever you set that to be, and focus on that. The world can seem so big because it is, but dial it down to your world, whatever that may mean for you, and focus on those victories in your world, and try to not worry about how that victory looks to somebody else's world.
exactly. And I'll do one more shout out to Hannah Corbin, my favorite Peloton instructor.
Oh yeah,
One of
Hannah's yeah,
her
I like Hannah.
Oh, she's amazing. One of her kind of signature lines is, treat yourself like someone you love. She talks about it as treat your body like someone that you love. Treat yourself like someone you love. What would you do if your friend came to you with what you're struggling with? What would you advise them of? How would
Wow.
you treat them? Be gentle, be kind,
Mm,
and
that's awesome.
and grab your dreams, go for them, and talk with people. Don't go it alone. If we learned nothing from COVID, I hope we learned isolation is not good. So reach out, get support, find resources, whatever you need to do, and um, and keep doing what you're doing. You're, as in the words of Francis Lagasse Jr., you are one positive step away from victory.
You are. And yes, absolutely. And stay tuned as we start to kind of dive deeper into mindset here moving forward. We're going to really start shifting and taking, some actions here around this philosophy of diving into positive action steps with some experts in the industry. And one of our first steps you need to check out is the TIPA Snow live virtual. So you can watch it from anywhere, which is awesome. So you don't have to be in Denver. You can be Australia, New Zealand, New York, anywhere in the world, and watch it from the comfort of your own couch and shorts and a PJ or whatever it may be. So we will provide some more information shortly here in regards to TIPA's presentation on caregiving and humor coming September 16th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So stay tuned for that. And as always, stay positive. We really are in a trying time. Things are shifting, but we are only one small step away from victory. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your week.